And finally, my friends, to bring today's episode to its close, I want to address what our president, Donald Trump, did yesterday with the signing of an executive order where he has made it illegal to burn the American flag, our great red, white, and blue. That the burning of the American flag, which back in the 1980s, it was in 1989, that the United States Supreme Court in Texas v. Johnson, the Supreme Court at the time, 1989, determined that flag burning constitutes symbolic speech that is protected by the First Amendment. No, it's not. It never should have been. Absolutely never should have been. This is where you have to be wise enough to understand the difference between what is moral and right and what is, quote, law or legal. You know that with Roe v. Wade in 1973, it's legal to slaughter babies in the womb, which of course has led to a greater Holocaust of the innocent, 10 times worse than even the Holocaust of World War II. 6 million Jews, where we have over 60 million, close to 65 million abortions in the United States of America since 1973. Now, the Holocaust in World War II was more evil in a different sense, as that these are adults and these are walking, talking children that are being put in these gas chambers and then incinerated. But it's still murder of human life. And so in the sense that it is the taking of human life, innocent human life, the murder of human life, then yes, abortion in the United States of America just since 1973 has been over 10 times worse than the Holocaust of World War II. And yet, now, there are states where it's now no longer legal, because, praise God Almighty, we have the Supreme Court that overturned Roe v. Wade a couple years ago. But there are still plenty of states in the United States that still have legal abortion, even like the state of Colorado, that offers legal abortion literally up to the moment of birth. Up to the moment of birth in the state of Colorado, you can get an abortion, and it's legal. Who cares if it's legal? Is it right? Is it moral? Is it good? That's what we should create our laws around. And that's what President Trump does. So it's like, since this Supreme Court decision in 1989, it's, quote, legal to burn American flags. But is it right? Is it good? Is it moral? No. It is the opposite of what is right, good, and moral. It is disgusting, and as President Trump detailed yesterday with the signing of the executive order, it incites to riot. That it foments these people up, and it's just because they're demon-filled people, they go crazy, and violence is usually the result of the burning of the American flag. And not just immediate violence, but it is violence of the gravest kind, in that the burning of the American flag is the spitting upon those who have good names, who have sacrificed their lives, who have died in the line of duty for the protection of our nation. I mean, that just today, we are honoring the 13 fallen U.S. soldiers out of that botched departure out of Afghanistan. We are honoring the 32 additional U.S. soldiers that were severely wounded with that botched departure, Joe Biden's departure out of Afghanistan. We are honoring the 2 police officers that were mentioned previously, and the firemen that died in the line of duty to end this domestic violence incident where we have this piece of filth that is holding this woman and 7 children hostage in February of 24. We honor our wounded and fallen soldiers. We honor our police officers. We honor our firemen. We honor those brave men and women that put it all on the line and they sacrifice even their own lives and their health and their bodies so that you and I can actually live in this nation and have the blessings and the privileges of living in the United States of America. The burning of the American flag is to spit upon every single one of these people. It is to, getting back to the word, those people who have a good name, who have done good deeds in this world, who have their good name and good deeds sealed for eternity on the day of their deaths. To burn the American flag is to spit upon their name. It is to spit upon their memory. It is to spit upon their reputation. It is to bring horrendous dishonor to those that are honorable. And yes, that's awful and it's wrong. And so I fully support Donald Trump signing this executive order yesterday that you burn the American flag, you get 1 year in jail. The White House put this out just yesterday evening, that actions have consequences. Yes, something the left can't seem to ever understand. That's the thing with the left. They don't believe in accountability. They don't believe in responsibility. They don't believe in consequences. And yet every one of them is going to have a serious rude awakening because they're all going to have that same destiny that you have and I have, which is death. We all go the way of the grave, and they're going to answer for their evil because God will bring into judgment every deed, even every hidden deed, whether it be good or whether it be evil. Actions have consequences. And so the burning of the American flag, there needs to be a consequence for it. Burn the American flag, disrespect our nation, incite violence, 1 year in jail. No excuses. No excuses.
5, 6, 7, 8. America was never great. America was never great. America was never great.
6, 7, 8. America was never great. Ultimately, these people, the reason why they hate America is because they hate God. That's the reason. And just as it says in the Proverbs, that for those who hate God, they love death. They love death. They love evil. They serve the god of death, Satan. They hate America because they hate that which is good. They hate exceptionalism. They hate virtue. They hate truth. They hate God, as God is the author of this nation, as God is the author of this word, the Holy Bible, and it is this book that the United States was brought out of from, I guess you could say. This is the foundation. Without this word, the United States never would have existed. The West wouldn't have existed without this word. These people hate America because they hate God, and ultimately they even hate themselves. They hate what they were born into. And given such privilege and such responsibility, such blessing from the Almighty to be born in the United States of America, and yet they squander that blessing. They cast it out and say that gift is a curse. They say that gift, that blessing, is something awful and detestable. It is spitting even in the face of the Almighty God. And so here they are crying out, 6, 7, 8, America was never great.
The police, you heard it here first, man.
Rarely have we seen anything like this, and I think you should get a 1 1-year jail sentence if you do anything to desecrate the American flag.
You do anything to desecrate our American flag. And the language is incite violence. That's where you get 1 year in jail. And so ultimately, whether this particular individual that we're going to discuss is going to get that 1 year in jail, I don't know. We're going to have to see how it plays out. But hours after President Trump signed that executive order, we had this piece of garbage come up to the gates of the White House, where at the gates of the White House, he burns an American flag. So this was just yesterday afternoon, yesterday evening, an unhinged liberal Karen, even though it's a man, but an unhinged liberal Karen has been arrested for burning an American flag outside the White House just hours after President Trump signed an executive order mandating 1 year in prison for flag burning. And this man absolutely should get 1 year in jail, 1 year in prison. Examples have to be made. There have to be consequences. Actions have consequences. You want to do this? Then you just enjoy your 1 year in prison.
However you feel that you may want to express yourself. There's a First Amendment right to burn the American flag. The Archdeacon in that house right there signed an executive order today saying that it was illegal to burn the American flag. No president can make a law, period. No Congress will make a law infringing on First Amendment rights. I'm burning this flag as a protest to that illegal fascist president that sits in that house. Do this for every single one of you American citizens. We burn this flag in protest to that president who feels that it's his right to do whatever he wants, make whatever law he wants, that President Trump put forward today. According to that executive order, I should be in prison right now serving 1 year.
I certainly hope you do. I do.
Want to step with the...
But once again, he may not, because argument can be made that it wasn't inciting to riot, inciting violence. And so, once again, we'll have to see how it plays out. But the burning of the American flag, when it comes to the Supreme Court decision in 1989 that, it's just, symbolic speech. It's symbolic speech. This is, protected under the First Amendment right of free speech. I am not a free speech absolutist. No one should be a free speech absolutist. In fact, freedom of speech doesn't actually include all speech. Why? Because speech of violence, where you are actually threatening a human being with violence, that's not protected under freedom of speech. You can't go into a crowded movie theater and cry out, "Fire, fire, fire," when there isn't fire, because it incites violence. It's a lie is what you're speaking that brings about a panic and a stampede where individuals can be injured or even killed. I'm protected under freedom of speech. No, you're not. You are not protected under freedom of speech to do those things. It's the same thing with the burning of the American flag. And so when it comes to the Supreme Court decision of 1989, this is one of those things where you have to have wisdom to understand the difference between what's moral and right and what's legal. There are plenty of things that are legal that are vile and evil. And then there are things that are right and good and wonderful that the people of this world, of course, they're the ones that are saying those things are evil. The burning of the American flag is evil. And I say, you burn the American flag, you get 1 year in jail. You get 1 year in prison. Enjoy it. Actions have consequences. And this is something that we need to remember, and we need to get back to. In fact, I mean, just this, I'm going to see if I can pull this up. This just came to mind, and then we'll conclude with this. Okay? We will conclude with this because this was said yesterday. Here it is. Oh my goodness. So unbelievable. Gosh. This is the Chicago mayor, Brandon Johnson. Okay, and the reason why I'm sharing this with you is to understand that actions have consequences. Something that the left doesn't understand. They don't grapple with that because they hate that. They hate that they have to be accountable to some power higher than themselves because they view themselves as their own gods. So we have Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson who says, throwing criminals in jail is, quote, racist, immoral, and unholy. Adding, quote, we can't incarcerate our way out of crime. Like what?
As the mayor of this city, I can tell you that Chicagoans are not calling for a military occupation. They are calling for the same thing that we've been calling for some time, and that's investment. What safe cities across America all have in common, they invest in people, and that's what we're doing in Chicago. We need the federal resources to make sure that we're building more affordable housing.
Well, because that solves it, doesn't it? Money solves it. That's how these idiots think. You know, they just want more money, just flowing into their cities, which a lot of it ends up in the pockets of these pieces of filth. That's what we need. We need money. We need resources. And we throw gobs of money at these people, and nothing ever changes. Chicago has been a dumpster fire of a city for decades because it has been led by Democrats. It has been, you have nothing but Democrat leadership. Same thing with Detroit, same thing with Denver, same thing with Los Angeles and San Francisco and Portland and Seattle, New York.
Housing, expanding mental and behavioral health care, education, all of these things that could reduce crime and provide real community safety. Instead of spending hundreds of millions of dollars for a publicity stunt to invoke chaos and terror, the federal government should spend that money on proven solutions to crime and violence reduction. We cannot incarcerate our way out of violence. We've already tried that, and we've ended up with the largest prison population in the world without solving the problems of crime and violence. The addiction on jails and incarceration in this country, we have moved past that.
Now, why do we have so many people in our prisons? You know, why is that? Why do we have, you know, our prisons, you know, overflowing? Because punishments are not harsh enough. Consequences for actions are not harsh enough. We are soft on crime. We are soft on the consequences for crime. You commit first-degree murder, and you know what we're going to do for you? We're going to put you up for life. We're going to put you up in a room. You're going to have a roof over your head, and you're going to have 3 square meals a day, and you're going to have gym time. You can go out into the rec area, you know, a couple hours a day for gym, and we're going to give you a library, and we're going to give you internet, we're going to give you TV, we're going to give you books. We're basically at the taxpayer expense, at American taxpayer expense, law-abiding citizen expense, we're going to take care of you for the rest of your life. You have somebody that commits first-degree murder or multiple murder, say in their 20s, early 20s, and they're given a life sentence in prison. First of all, many of them get paroled after a couple decades or, 30, 40 years, so then they're just released. But let's say they do actually serve a full life sentence. Somebody in their mid-20s and they serve a full life sentence into their, 70s or whatever it may be, all right? So 50, 55 years. You know how many millions of dollars get spent on that one person to take care of them for those 50 plus years? That's your money and my money. It's disgusting to think that we take care of murderers, mass murderers, for decades and decades on end. Soft consequences, soft on crime, soft punishments for crime. That's what leads to this. No, if punishments were severe and quick, like, I don't know, death penalty quick, you are found guilty in a court of law of the first-degree murder, boom, we're putting you in front of a firing squad in the next 24 hours and you're dead. And we're going to throw your body into a hole and out into a field. And you're going to be dead and forgotten. That would immediately solve 98% of all homicides in the United States of America. It would solve it immediately. It's the same principle. It's the same foreign policy that Reagan has and Trump has, which is peace through strength. Strength is the key. That these criminals need to know that there are severe consequences for their evil actions. And if they know that, they're going to think long and hard before committing those evil actions. And so this idiot governor of Illinois, we can't incarcerate our way, to, out of crime. That is literally the only way you can do it. It is literally the only way you can do it.
It is racist, it is immoral, it is of crime and violence. The addiction on jails and incarceration in this country, we have moved past that. It is racist, it is immoral, it is unholy, and it is not the way to drive violence down. We cannot return to the same failed strategies that got us here in the first place. Under the previous presidential administration, we requested more federal resources to address gun violence in our city. We continue to
gun violence in Chicago, where you can't actually legally have a gun, and yet it's one of the number one cities in the United States for gun violence. Because when guns are outlawed, only the outlaws have guns.
make that same call. We have made significant progress on our own, but there is so much more that we can do if we had real support from the federal government.
If we have real support for these people, I can't stand them. They are so evil that all they want is just give us more money, and that's going to solve the problem. No, it won't. And so that throwing criminals in jail is racist, immoral, and unholy, and we can't incarcerate our way out of crime. I responded, yes, you can. In fact, fear of consequence is literally the only thing that keeps immoral, evil people from committing crime. Actions have consequences. And when people understand that, crime goes way down. As now that there's real strength and the power to back it up in Washington, D.C., there hasn't been a murder in Washington, D.C. in almost 2 weeks. The murder capital of the nation and even close to the world. Hasn't been a murder in almost 2 weeks, when before Trump's federal takeover of D.C., they were having a murder every other day for decades on end. Everything the left does fails. All of their policies are wrong. All of their ideologies are evil. Every last one of them. The left fails at everything they do and everything they touch. They turn it to garbage. Everything. Because they're not built on the rock of truth.